Hey, scrappy people. Welcome to day 4 of my December daily album. And this spread is a bit large. So this video was super long and I've condensed it down as much as I possibly can. So if it feels a little bit jumpy, I apologize in advance. Trust me, you're not missing out on anything except for me being unable to make decisions. So I have 2 back-to-back 6x8 photos that I'm going to include, plus a 4x6 photo that I'm going to include. So I have a lot going on here. So I'm going to adhere the 6x8 paper to the back of this pocket, and then I'm going to adhere these 2 photos back to back. Initially I thought maybe I would do a flip up on the back of that pocket with these photos, but I don't love the idea of this such a large photo flipping up out of the album. It seemed bulky and unwieldy to me. So I'm just going to insert it into the rings like I have been doing with other 6x8 photos. So of course I'm making my paper border for that process, and I'm going to adhere it so that it's sticking out a bit from the photo so that I can put my hole punches into the paper instead of into the photo. So I've got green on this side, and then on the other side we are going to do that pretty floral, and I'm going to use all of the tape runner. There we go. Okay, so I'm just building the bases right here, and then I'm going to come back and start embellishing. Down there on the bottom pocket, I also have a note from our elf. Well, it's actually from Santa when our elf arrived. So I need somewhere else to put my journaling. So I'm going to put my journaling on the back of this Santa journal piece that comes in the album, the Very Merry album. And I'm going to create a flip pocket for this one so that the journaling is sort of hidden. And I adhered a 3x4 card to the back of Santa, and now I'm going to use washi tape and create the flip pocket or flip out, whatever, for that 4x4 Wonder card. So we put washi on the outside, and then washi on the inside as well to reinforce it. And then I'm going to probably bounce around again because that's how I roll. Let's cut off the excess here. And I'm trying to make sure it rounds with the card. I don't want to have that squared off washi hanging off there. There we go. Perfect. Now I'm constantly layering these cards back in order because I want to make sure that they're all interacting well together. So I have 2 photos for this pocket right here. There's lots of flip outs on this one. And I'm going to put that Very Merry card. I thought it was appropriate with the photo of them laughing. So it's going to be right above the photo of them laughing. And then I will put the other photo on the outside and do my washi tape trick again to make it flip up. Now I could be using the Simple Stories photo flips, but I don't love that they flip out horizontally instead of vertically, so I haven't been using them in this album, especially since the adhesive part kind of overlaps the rings, and I find them to be sometimes a little bit annoying. So I'm just using washi, and I'm going to roll with it. There we go. Now I can start embellishing. So I'm going to put some washi on Santa here. Everything else has a patterned border, so I figured Santa needed one too. Oh my goodness. Fighting with that washi. So I put it in the album because I wanted to make sure that this little tab that I was using for the flip pocket would fit in the rings appropriately. So I put it back in the album just to make sure. Then I'll pull it out again. Or I'll put everything else in the album too. Who knows? Oh, yep. I took it out of the album and then put it back in. Okay. So now I can start embellishing. And I'm going to get out the die cuts. And I'm going to use this cute little stamp because we did get a letter from Santa. And then I need something to sort of not cover up, but make that flip out pocket a little less boring. So I'm going to include that truck on there. I spent a long time drawing that truck, so I want to include him as much as possible. And then some presents on this photo of Finn with the elf and the presents. Santa brought Santa jammies early. I don't like giving my kids their Christmas jammies on Christmas Eve. I feel like once you get to Christmas Eve, the Christmas season is like over. So the joy of wearing Christmas themed jammies after Christmas is not as high as the joy of wearing them during the Christmas season. So I normally give them their Christmas jammies in the beginning of the month so they can wear them all month long. So I've got this Just Believe underneath the truck there. The note was from Santa was about how we're going to have 2 elves this year, but the postman, Santa got our second elf to us late, so he, quote unquote, needed more training at the North Pole, which is perfect because our storyline this year for the elves, and yes, I have an elf storyline, is that we have one naughty elf, which is the one that needed more training, and one nice elf who is Hermie. He's taking a break from dentistry this year and being our shelf elf. So we have a naughty and a nice elf, and so our elf needing to stay at the North Pole for retraining was perfect. Yeah, I'm a dork, and I'm going super hard this year on Elf on the Shelf because I have a feeling that Finn is not going to believe in Santa or Elf on the Shelf for very long. He's wise beyond his years. I mean, Karsten believed in Santa until he was like 11 years old. But Finn is 6, and I'm thinking he's borderline not believing in Santa anymore. So I decided to make this probable last year of Elf on the Shelf really buck wild to send it out in style. So yeah, that's my Elf on the Shelf story. So I am going to have a ton of photos of Elf on the Shelf in my album this year, but I'm not going to include them every day. I think I might insert a few spreads, like compilation spreads here and there, instead of trying to include every day. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do. This whole elf thing has a storyline, so I might actually make it its own album with the journaling that I'm using on my Instagram every day to sort of tell the story. I don't know. I'm just being way too extra for my own good. So you can see I'm just sort of embellishing. I don't want to, like I'm doing with this whole album, I don't want to over embellish because there's so much going on. So I'm just kind of keeping it simple on all these photos. There was a lot of yellow in these photos, so I felt like those yellow stars from the Cocoa Daisy November 2017 kits that I had left over would work perfectly on that photo. So I did. And then I used a little wood veneer as the flip up. And then I decided that I need something to cover up that little tab sticking out, so I decided to use that ornament. And I put it down right over Santa, which makes no sense because once I turn the page, hello, it has to be able to open. So I went back and did it again. This time it can open. Now I do staple this on, which on the other side the staples are backwards, so I don't love the way it looks, and I do go back and take the staples out So I was initially stapling because I was worried that it would fall off, but once the glue set, it was pretty stuck on there, so I did not need the staples anymore. Then I have this wood veneer 4 from a very old Gossamer Blue December Memories collection that I had left over. So it was perfect for the middle of that wreath. There I go, adding another staple. Dum 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 dum, because I'm gonna pull them out. Yep, not loving it. Right back out they go. There are little holes in both the wood veneer and in the paper, but nobody cares. Nobody cares but me. So I just left it alone. I am getting close to done here. I do decide that this pocket with the 6x8 on it is it's off-centered and it looks weird. So I'm going to cover up this edge here with more patterned paper, just so that it looks a little less accidental. I don't know. It wasn't accidental. It was trying to avoid the holes, the hole punched holes, but I didn't love the way it looked. So let's just try and make it a little bit better, I guess is what I'm doing here. Punch those holes back out. Alright, that's better. I still feel like it needs a little extra oomph. So I want to add a little tab to this page to sort of stick out and A, make it easy to flip, and B, make it interesting, I guess. I have a lot of 6x8s in the binder rings for this album, so I wanted this one to be a little bit different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere it, but I can't just let it be just like a rectangle of paper sticking out, even though it is pretty shiny vellum. So what I'm going to do, once I get it in there, there we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to freehand draw a bracket shape on this vellum. It comes out pretty well. I'm going to cut it after I've freehand drawn it. I don't need it to be perfect, I just need it to be done. It's like the top and bottom half of the bracket is like your eyebrows. They should be sisters, not twins. So I think that's where I landed. Not perfectly symmetrical, but totally okay with that. It's cute bracket. I like it. And we're almost done here. I'm going to add my journaling in about Hermie arriving. And then once I'm done with this, I decide that this May Your Days Be Merry and Bright needed some bling. So I'm going to take all these sequins that I have here, and I'm going to pull out all of the green ones. I had just a few green ones, and I'm going to add them in on this 6x8 kind of randomly. I like the way that the green interacts with the red and the black and the white. And also, since that photo has so much green in it, it helps tie that in as well. Then I decide that I want to include some of these stars, and initially I was going to use the gold stars, but then I saw the silver stars that I had in here, and so I decided to do those instead. Look at how cute that is with the stars. It really set it off, I think, and made it perfect. And once I get these done, this spread is all done. So if you enjoyed it, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thank you.